First question, man. And it's kind of directed at y'all. Either one of y'all can answer. Decide who want to answer first, man. Is where you from? Give the people a little bit of background on where you grew up, how you grew up, brothers, sisters, and pretty much the nature of your household coming up and how you got motivated.
You go first, guy. I'm about to turn this.
Do you think?
Born Baltimore City. Early on, raised and grew up in Baltimore County, so
Right.
Randallstown area. As far as household, two older sisters. Grew up my mother and father. And that was it as far as our immediate family. Yeah.
You say older sisters, no brothers in the household. So
No brothers. Lots of cousins. Lots of cousins that played ball. Definitely an influence on me from a very young age. And I also, my household was one that my parents allowed me to have my friends over a lot. So a lot of my teammates remember spending a lot of time with them, coming over, playing ball in the backyard, video games, all of that stuff. So, always, like I said, always a lot of people in the household.
right. Okay.
Yeah. And myself, born in Connecticut, moved to Maryland when I was about 7, 8 years old. Grew up in Columbia, Maryland. Both parents in the house. I had two older brothers. One lived in the house with me. One lived in New York. And then one of my cousins was always around too. I didn't have much family out here, but my friends honestly became my family out in Maryland really, really quickly through basketball. So.
Right. And that's kind of like the reason why I asked, like, the gist of that question is because, coming up, a lot of the relationships that we find is through sports. And obviously, this is a sports channel. I know you guys through basketball, and you guys kind of made a career through basketball and everything like that. So I kind of try to find the root as to where it all started at. So for Kyle, was it always basketball for you? And I'm going to ask you the same question when Kyle's done. But was it always basketball, or was it another thing that was in your house that kind of was a motivating factor to do outside of basketball? What was kind of the landscape?
So starting off, it was a lot of sports. It was basketball, baseball, soccer. I swam. That was the first thing I did. I played football. But
You played football?
I did play football for a little bit.
Co-host.
And I ended up having a nephew at a very young age. So he was the closest thing to a brother. I consider him a brother. So when we were in the house, it was all basketball. And that's also, like I said, a lot of family that played ball. So one of the things my father did, and I don't know if he did this on purpose or not, but he always exposed me and took me to my cousin's games when I was younger. So basketball was definitely in the forefront, but I played pretty much everything from 5 until like 12, 13.
Okay. So it sounds like it wasn't just one key thing that just set you on. It kind of just opened the horizon and just let you kind of figure it out as a youngster.
He definitely let me figure it out because his thing was baseball, honestly.
Right.
Him, and then I know like my uncles, they all played baseball first. And I think when I was about like 8 or 9, I kind of started to excel in basketball a little bit. And just having seen all of my family, they all pretty much played ball. Like, really football, baseball, here and there a little bit, but basketball was like the family sport. And I have a very large family, and it kind of, well known for basketball throughout the city. So that was the thing that, once I started to excel a little bit, I just remember telling my father, like, I want to focus specifically on basketball.
Okay. Is that kind of how it happened for you too, or is it more or less, was it a motivation from your brothers, or where did your motivation start for you?
Yeah, I would say not from my brothers. My older brother Brian, was trash in basketball. He'll be mad when you see
Sorry,
that.
Brian, yo.
Yeah, it's the truth though. I was beating him. We were doing like shooting games back in Connecticut when I was like 6. He's 7 years older than me, so he's 13. But like I could shoot well at a young age, so that's when I could tell I was okay at basketball. But it was basketball. Honestly, I just gravitated toward it.
Okay.
I knew my dad played Division II ball at AIC, American International College in Massachusetts. He's on the same team as like Mario Ellie, playing the Spurs. You know what I'm saying?
Ballhead Ellie.
Yeah. So I knew he played, but he didn't like pressure me into it. I just fell in love with the game at an early age. But from there, I played football. Actually, I love football. But a funny story, I actually wanted to quit. My first time I ever played, I wanted to quit. There's another shout out to Mike Campanero. We was playing with the Columbia Trojans, and the famous what's the famous drill? You line up
Oklahoma.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, and he played in the NFL. You know what I mean? He like that.
Absolutely.
First time ever like tackling or ever running at somebody was in Oklahoma with him. I was 7. I think he was a little older, 7'9" football. He's a year older, and I had the ball. He scooped me, threw me on the ground. I lost the air. You lose the air in your whole body. Like, I remember laying there. I was done. Done. I remember going home. My dad always stayed in the basement watching TV. I remember coming in the house that day. I did not go to him at all. Went straight up to my mother, like, Ma, I think I got a basketball body. I got I was looking at my body and limb. It's a basketball body. And this is my son right here. Yeah, we can. But man, so looked at her. Said I got a basketball body. After that, she said, listen, just go out one more day. Go to practice one more day. If you don't like it, we'll take you out of it. The next day, his dad was like, hey, Eric, how about you be our quarterback? I said, bet. Perfect. And honestly, I kept playing from there, and I really fell in love with it. The contact and everything. I actually love playing football more than I love playing basketball. And it's probably just because of I could feel at an early age the pressure that I was better in basketball. Like naturally I was better at it. So I knew there would be more pressure there. And football honestly just felt like, yo, this is fun.
Nah, I feel you.
You know what I'm saying? So, like I would tell anybody, I always loved playing football more. And I played that up until I ended going into my sophomore year. I did not play sophomore. I didn't play JV football, but I played freshman at Mount St. Joe. But again, another funny story has it there. Clatchy, I'm playing football. We're talking football. So I'm playing quarterback at St. Joe. I roll out, decide to run. I get hit, boom, again. Ball lands on my stomach. I lose my air again. I'm laying on the ground for a long time. I finally look up and see who's in front of me. Clatching on the field. Like, this is the last
time to go.
This is the last time you're playing.
Protect that investment.
Hey, this is the last time you're playing, buddy.
Hey, man, that's funny, dog. Hey, can't blame him, man.
Hey, so that was the last time I played football, man.
Nah, that's a funny story. But no, man, I mean, it's kind of weird to kind of get that whole path, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's path is different. Like, I had a couple of different players. Like, I had my man that's in the CFL. He played basketball throughout his adolescence, but he's a professional football player.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, a lot of the guys that pursue the sport, like after high school, that are good enough to play in college, 9 times out of 10, like their horizon was open in the beginning. Like they really wasn't even focused on basketball. So I always try to find out if it was like a key point or if it was always a focus on it. So that's dope to hear. And I never knew that you played football at all. So no, that's actually fun. Moving forward a little bit, I know we jumped ahead just a second ago, but to kind of get like just a scope and a metric on the area. So you come up in Columbia, you come up in the county, Baltimore County, but both of you kind of when you're coming up and you're playing basketball, when did you get introduced to AAU? Either one of you guys.
All right, so as far as basketball, I played in the city, like
From the beginning.
Yeah. So now, as far as AAU, my first like AAU experience, I tried out for the Baltimore Stars. Now, like I said, when I was around like 7, 8, that's when I kind of started to excel.
Mm-hmm.
So my father had me try out for the 9 and under team when I was 8. So that team was like Devin Spencer, Will Barton. It was like a lot of guys that, was super solid.
Ended up being what they are now, but at the time you meet them as friends. You know what I'm saying? But I get it. Yeah.
Exactly. So I did not make that team.
Mm-hmm.
So my father was like, well, there was no like 8 and under AAU. AAU started at 9
Yep.
at that time. And Cecil Kirk had a team. So I ended up playing with Cecil Kirk AAU my first year when I was 8, 9 and under. And, we actually lost to the Stars. I remember we got blown out. And that was like my first experience. And then after that, the next year, tried out for the Stars and made it with a lot of guys that you probably know, him included, with the Baltimore Stars 9 and under team. That was like my first, I would say my first legit AAU team that I played with, 9 and under, 10 and under. So.
Would that be the start of your AAU career as well?
Yeah, not another. I didn't try out for anything before then. AAU wise, I played with the Columbia Jaguars. So that was a travel team in the area at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I played up at the time with like Justin McCoy. There's a couple other really good guys on the team, but at that time he was the man, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the AAU wise, the first team was Baltimore Stars with him. That's the first I can remember there.
So you guys met kind of when at the same, you kind of really met on the same level as far as starting on AAU as more or less.
Nah, actually, we actually met before this.
Y'all met before then, so y'all have known each other since before 9 years old.
Yeah, so I think we met on my first year there, my first summer. My first summer in Maryland. It was at I know it was at Milford.
Yeah, it was I can't remember the name of the camp.
Yeah.
And that's 7 years old. You came from Connecticut at 7.
Yeah.
So 7 years old, and okay. Just to kind of map it out a little bit. That's a long ass time, man.
Yeah, it was a Charm City. Was it a Charm City? It was a Charm City camp.
Charm City
at Milford. That's the first time we ever met each other. My mom actually told me the story about how we met. We don't remember at first.
A little bit. I remember a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? Because actually, I gotta go back.
I ain't gonna lie. Like, at our age group, we was both killing the camp.
Okay, so that's usually what happens.
We was both killing.
When you both killing at camp, y'all come together as one because y'all both recognize that y'all both killing.
Yeah, so we was both killing. I'm like, oh, what's your name? He was like, Eric. Everybody was calling him Speedy Claxton at the time.
Speedy.
I don't know why.
Yeah. And he was like, what's your name? Kyle. But people was calling me Jamal Crawford at the time.
Because you was out there doing all of this and that.
Yes.
Right.
So that was like when we kind of met, and I think they eventually like ended up kind of moving us up a few age groups, like at least an age group at the camp.
Mm-hmm.
And then we was just kind of cool at the camp, and it was like one day at the camp where it was everybody was leaving, and my father, we lived like not too far from Milford, so he was picking me up, but he was still there, so we was still like playing around, and he was kind of like like where your parents or whatever, because I was asking my father like, can he come over?
Yeah.
So he like, let me see about his parents, and you know what I'm saying. So he ended up when his mother came talking to his mother, and they started talking about the camp and then different leagues and stuff and different teams. So that's where it kind of, and after that, he was like, okay, you know, he can go over your house, you can go over his house.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, and I think cause my mom met with him first. My mom didn't really know nothing about basketball at the time, really. She knows it, but she don't really know it, especially how serious it is in Maryland.
Exactly.
Right. So when my dad started speaking to his dad, I think he realized that, his dad kind of knows the ins and outs of where the good basketball is. Because I think when I first got here, was playing in the call it HC, something like it's a Howard County league. It's still going to this day, but I think I played in it one time. The ref was out there like letting people double dribble, to like looking, doing just like, you know what I mean? They trying to advance the game, but at a really slow pace. And I was already past that. And my dad was basically like, "You're not playing in Howard County. Like, it's just, we need to find somewhere else to go." Boom. That's how we found the camp. Milford Mill County. Boom. Meet Kyle. Like, "Oh, your son's playing in the city. We need to put Eric in the city."
Right.
So wherever, it basically became, hey, wherever you're going with Kyle, it was my dad to his dad, both rest in peace. Like, I'm going to place him in the same place.
Right.
So, boom, from there. I mean, we basically from there.
History is.
Everywhere.
We're gonna find out. Okay, so you guys link up at about 7 years old, and you kind of developing at the same time. So you get to this AAU spectrum, and like you said, you're figuring out how the city basketball is played. Well, Maryland is played in general, but you get introduced to this AAU thing. What were kind of like the first thoughts that you guys had when you got to the AAU spectrum and started seeing some of these players who we know now to be who they are? Did you guys already have like a keen sense of who was who and what was what, or did you get motivated by guys that were better, or how was that landscape? Were you guys already on par with those guys, or how was that experience when you first got there, if you can remember?
so
Who bust your ass? That's what I want to
know.
know. You feel what I'm saying?
At 9?
Yeah, we gotta see what happened.
talking about
You see what I'm
at
saying?
9?
Yeah.
I can actually remember one kid.
See, that's what I need. That's what I want.
I actually just talked to him the other day.
Okay.
All right, so at that age, yeah, I kind of did know a little bit, only because, like I said, my father used to take me to all of the games and like my cousins' games, and one of my cousins, Eric Barksdale, Aggie, he was playing with the Stars, so he was playing with like Desmond Thomas, also like family. I think on that team might have also been Malcolm Delaney, Sean Mosley, Eric Brooks. So like a lot of guys who ended up playing with Mount Royal, but they were with the Stars at first. So, and at least like my cousin Eric and Desmond, they played at Bentlow. So that was like kind of the start of playing in the city. It was like, if you want to play, you go Coach Herman, you go to Bentlow, the house league.
We did that camp. We did that camp too.
Yeah. The camp, summer camps was always just like you see a lot of people playing, and that was kind of like the start of just like seeing different people and being like, okay, yeah, I like his game, or like seeing different moves, or like picking people you kind of want to emulate or look up to. But to you, like at 9, wasn't nobody busting.
I'm just making sure, yo. The reason why I say this is because like you said, you'll see a person that you want to emulate, take this move from, or you'll see a new move that you ain't seen, or a different type of pace or something like that. So I was just wondering, was that the occurrence of you guys because that was the introduction to AAU. So it's not like, you played city ball, you played county ball, but AAU was kind of like a different metric.
Yeah.
So it was like, I didn't know if you walked in there and seen something like that was totally above you, or you just felt like you was comfortable with it, or.
Yeah, I think for me, it was, first of all, me not knowing no different.
Yeah.
You just don't know anything different other than, especially at that age, you're one of the best kids coming in. We're all best kids coming in. And then you step into a gym, you're like, oh, so there's other kids just as fast or strong. That was the main thing, fast or stronger than you. Like even on our team, we had Nate Ayers, who played at Morgan State football. But he was stronger and faster than everybody. And like you could feel that right away, like, boom, that's different. or a kid with long arms, like Teray, like super long arms, could strip you if you do a crossover too slow, or he would just wait on it. So like those are the things that you like, okay, these are the differences. Like you gotta feel those things out pretty quickly. And then like the older kids, you know, they're just, in my head, I just said, oh, they're older, I'll get there.
Right.
So they didn't like amaze me. It was just like, I'm gonna be there. I just gotta be.
Okay.
Hopefully, if I just get a little older, I'll be there.
Nah, I understand.
You know, so that's the way I looked at them. But I say this, in 9 under, we kind of ran through it. We got far with the Stars. What we finished that year? We
might have lost like 2.
I think we finished 5th in the country.
We finished 5th.
5th in the country. But I remember who we lost to was Charlotte Stars. And this is the person we talked about who bust our, wasn't my ass or me personally at least.
Jarrell.
No, Jarrell and Ian Miller.
Okay.
Ian Miller, who went to Florida State, and Eddie, who went to Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Those two, I remember Ian playing at a different, his game was so like mature at that time. And I remember because he was a guard, I was like, okay, that's different for guards at the time. Like he was the way he was moving, crossing, pulling up. I was like, oh, that's different. You know, in my head, I remember, I'm gonna see you one day.
Right.
I'm gonna see you one day. Eventually, I got a chance to play him in college, but like, you know, and I just talked to him the other day. Like he's still doing well, playing overseas, getting buckets. Like it don't surprise me at all. So
Nah, that's what's up.
It was cool, like at that age, just getting to see like basketball from a national perspective.
Right.
You know, like different cultures. You know, different players and things like that. And just to go back, like the Baltimore Stars, it was a combination of like different rec centers. Bentlow, Madison, John Eager Howard. So yeah, it was just a combination of the city's best at that age.
yeah.
Got you.
You were the Bentlow kid. Me and you heads.
Yeah, at that time.
Me and you heads.
Bentlow. Yep.
That's what's up, man. And it's kind of good that you spoke on that because now the segue that I want to go to now is to kind of, not because I don't want to, we could be here all night for sure, but to kind of block it and put it into a easier perspective, kind of talk about how both of your transitions went to get to the high schools you guys went to. Like, so talk about your age. I mean, as quick as you know what I mean, as much as you can. I'm going to try to give you some questions within the AAU story because I definitely got questions for both of y'all at a specific point of y'all AAU story.
Yeah.
So talk about how the gradual increase of skill and all of that got you to where it got you with picking your schools.